Ladies and gentlemen, I think there are many in the room who wonder what it feels like to win Olympic gold in a classic. There's also a kind of a school of thought that says that the performance of a boat is about three equally important things. One is the hull, one is the sails, and one is the sailors. And I think you can quite safely say that there's no class in the world where the development of rigs and sails are as fast as in the star class. And you can definitely say that the best sailors in the world sail the star class. And that's why we have such a pleasure to have Mikko Brummer and Max Salminen take the floor next. Max, please join us.
Okay, so welcome here, Max, and I think if we start by introducing you, who you are, and how you started your self-sailing, how your sailing career started.
Yeah, well, first I probably have to explain my last name, because I am from Sweden, and it's my grandfather that was Finnish and had to escape the Second World War, but stayed in Sweden, and that's why I'm Salminen. So many ask and greet me on Finnish, but I don't speak a word Finnish, unfortunately. That's why I sadly have to speak English for it. But I started off sailing in south of Sweden when I was 7 years old. There's not really a sailing tradition in my family. It just happened that my parents moved out towards closer to the sea, and there was a good sailing school there. So at the age of 7, I started as many of us in the Optimist, and I pretty soon kind of fetched the essence in sailing and figured it out pretty quickly. So it got to be kind of a personality building experience, the sailing. So I pretty soon became the sailor in my little small hometown, and I pretty soon as well figured out that my ambitions were higher than the rest of the little group that was sailing in the small sailing school. So I had to look outside that little town and try to meet the other ones with the same ambitions and expectations. So I joined bigger training groups and traveled all over Sweden with my little Optimist. Didn't do so well in the beginning because of my size, not the least, and also that I didn't have that sailing background in the family, so it was hard for me to get that coaching and that know-how around me that I needed. But slowly I have catched up, and when finishing gymnasium, it was kind of the big decision to go through with the sailing and go full out, or have sailing on the amateur basis and go the normal route, so to say, through high school or university. But I went for the sailing there, and started traveling Europe with, and then there was the laser where I was sailing, and got into the Olympic atmosphere program, and sailing the World Cups and meeting people from other places in the world with the sailing. So even more, it got a big part of my personality, and even more I got to be the sailor Max. And in 2010, I was sailing the Finn and joining a Swedish-Finnish group, a training group. Daniel Biermark, that was sailing for Sweden, and Tapio Nirku, that was sailing for Finland. And we had a training camp in northern Italy at Lake Garda. And at the time, Fredrik Lööf, he's called internationally Fredrik Lööf, was living there, and we were staying at his place. And, we got to meet bonded more and more, and got to know one another. So I got contacted into his campaign to try two different hull shapes against one another. So I was brought in as a sparring partner. And later that autumn, we started sailing together just for tryout, and won the first regatta that we competed in. That was the Eastern Hemisphere regatta in Germany, that fall 2010. So we decided to start this Olympic campaign together. That was pretty late as well. So we only had the season 2011 and 2012 to become the best team in the world. And there were a lot of other decisions to be made as well. There were an American design boat that was going faster and faster, so we had to try this, but it was very fast downwind because of its straight lines. It was easier to get planing, but it was struggling on the upwinds. So we pretty fast decided that it wasn't anything for us. We were sailing the old Italian folly instead. But at the Olympic qualifications, where you qualify the nations, this is December 2011 in Perth, Australia. We were noticing that these American boats were going faster and faster, and they were gaining so much on the downwinds that you couldn't keep up on it paid too much on their downwinds than on our upwinds. So we had to rethink. So when standing there after the regatta, we qualified for the Olympics, but it was an okay fifth place on that World Championships. We wanted to reach even higher. So standing there evaluating all of our materials, we were knowing that the sailcloth in the sails had been changed to be better. They were designed to be less stretchy, that you always think is a good thing, but now the shape of the sail is designed after the stretch characteristics that we have sailed with until December 2011. And we only have basically 6 months, so it's too late to change the sail shape to fit the new cloth. So we knew that we only had cloth for 4 mainsails. And by sailing, we calculated that, how many was it, 50 mainsails during the last...
Yes, during the Olympiad, 50 mainsails and 71 jibs. And more than 120 sails for 3.5 years of sailing.
So it's simple math that these 4 golden mainsails, we have to save them for the special occasions when they really have to matter. But we were still designing the small details on the sails that we were about to use on the Olympics. So we had to really use that those 4 mainsail cloths very well to know that if we sew a sail in this cloth, it has to be the sail that is going to sail the Olympics. So we were trying out. We had tryouts with the other sail, and when we thought some detail was good enough, we could use this new cloth to make it. Yeah. And also the jibs, we were at this time the only ones sailing with radial jibs. And why, of course, we don't know, that they have to answer to, but there was one of these small details that made us have a more consistent speed throughout the week and throughout the wind spectrum. And we have had mast developments. We were trying to, at that time, everyone in the fleet was sailing with the same mast brand, absolutely everyone. But we were trying to take the next level and create our own mast, our custom-made mast with a finer, better aluminium. And we couldn't have done this without the VB to always, when we had a new mast curve, we just send it VB and expect the sail in the week to fit our new mast. Sadly, we didn't have the time to go through with this mast program, but what all of this gave us was more understanding about the rig and the sails. So we used the same mast as everyone else, but we knew a little bit more about it. So you can't ever lose, even if it's when starting to picking these small mysteries, you can't really lose, even if it doesn't go anywhere, and you can't develop a product more. You understand more about the product that you're using, and more understanding makes you faster in the long run. And the boat, we had to have more double boat testing to get this, to know what boat to sail at the Olympics. So that was hectic last 6 months there, and it was really good that we got the qualification there in December, so we had all those 6 months to finalize all of the preparation. And this is pictures from the medal race, and we were going into the medal race as third boat, bronze position, and we had a mathematical chance on gold, we thought. The only thing we could do, the only thing that was totally up to us and in our hands, was the silver. If we beat the Brazilians with one boat in between, we had the silver. So the aim that we put up for ourselves was, if we win the medal race, we can easily make sure that Brazil is not number 2. That if we cover them and tackle them all of the 3 upwinds, we can make sure that they're not second. So, and it was really, for me, this was the first, my first Olympics, and I was at the time only 23 years old. So the last big fleet race, we secured the medal. So it was striking for me to, that late day before the medal race, to try and make myself not satisfied with the bronze medal, but to be eager to take this silver or gold. That was the plan from the very beginning. So try to be proud about the bronze medal, but put it away and start thinking about silver and gold. And this was just the start here, and as you might see, the Irish try to copy our radial jibs for the Olympics. And we are this boat here. And so the main players is Brazil, and Britain is leading their home court. After the start, the Brits tried to squeeze us off. We're right to windward of the Brits, so we had to tack away. We were maybe a little bit too cautious in the start, and these Olympics were really big because Great Britain was expected really big success, as they also did, of course. But it was the first time maybe sailing got so well in the media. There was really good commentators, and and really good viewing. This is from helicopters that is really high up in the air. In China they had problems that the choppers was too close to the racing, so that their propellers were affecting the winds. And the sailing is brought really close to the spectators as well. You see in the background you have this huge hill where you actually, maybe for the first time, you pay entrance to go watch sailing, and it was full. It was sold out. One of the first sports to be sold out.
Max, can you tell us a little bit more about how you prepared for the Olympics? How much sailing would that mean? During a year, during a week, during a month? How much underwater time do you have?
Our aim and rule was not to sail more than 4 days in a row and then have a rest. But that was crossed many times. The eagerness is your biggest opponent sometimes. That you can't really see the best. That you have to have the rest as well. So let's say 5 days a week, and I calculated. That was 2010. I had 250 days traveling.
And when you were not traveling, you were in Lake Garda,
Yeah.
probably sailing.
Yeah. So it's a lot about the logistics as well to get to that point, to get to that mass of sailing. You have to have several boats because one is always out. One boat is always traveling to the next regatta, and you have to have good build-up to every regatta at home. But I think the biggest thing was that our aim was so focused that we wanted to win the race and not be satisfied with anything else. And it got to be really tight in the end, so that last going from second to first was really crucial as well.
And asked about this medal race. When starting, before the race, did you have a plan what you were going to do in the medal race? Tactic-wise, which way you were going? Did you decide to go to the right before the start already, or did that just happen that way?
It was a really tricky course because it was so close to shore, so you couldn't really have that strategy so well prepared in advance. You had to pretty much make the plan as you go a little bit because it's so shifty and so unstable conditions, so you had to adapt really quickly and head outside the boat all the time.
Did you have a good weather report?
Yeah, we have had huge studies. Actually, a work together with the Finnish Federation was the currents. That you try to map all the currents around this bay because the tidal current starts spinning in the bay like when the water goes out of the bathtub, pretty much, and then filling up again. So this was really well mapped and was a great success as well. Paid off really well. And then we had special meteorologists that helped us with the winds. And we had a huge 100 pages long Bible about the winds in Weymouth.
Sorry Max, could you right now explain the dynamic technique of breaking the mast forward and jumping on the deck and so on? That's very interesting for people sailing other classes.
Yeah, well, as you can see, the backstays you can release so much, so you tilt the sail forward or the whole rig forward, and this makes a much better profile for the jib. Instead of the forestay is going backwards, the forestay becomes pretty much vertical, and in this light wind as well, it helps the sail to open and work better. And I used to stand on foredeck as well to be able to map the wind pressure changes as well. Freddy tries to just feel the boat and keep the speed in the boat all the time.
You also told that while standing on the deck, you're not allowed to make the boat swing this way, that every now and then you have to repair something on that side, and then you have to repair something on the other side.
Yeah, you become a master of disguising your walking. You look a little bit behind the sail.
Right behind you.
That's an art. That's fine art. And the New Zealand boat overtook us the first run. When you come in a light wind day as this, and you run the first, many of you have noticed this as well, I guess. When you first boat in a light wind day, you round the top mark, and the whole fleet is just coming up like a wall behind you. And we knew at this point that the first jibe of the downwind will be so crucial to find that little window to get the same pressure as the other ones and keep the distance. And now it's playing match racing between us and the Kiwis, because we have jumped so much ahead, us two boats. And behind us we see the Brazilians and the GB, that is where GB is covering the Brazilians. And going into the Olympics, the Brazilians were big favorites, because they have had a huge track record of winning almost everything that they were competing in. So I think that might have been a problem for him, actually, to be that on the forehand, that big of a favorite.
Is this approaching the last windward mark?
I think this is the last beat, yes, and only running top mark and then downwind to the finish. And there we have the New Zealand's, I think, GB. And I think many of you have seen this medal race as well. And the poor Brits, I got a lot of critics about their last downwind tactics, but they were facing a really difficult choice there, to try and sail the fleet and controlling the fleet, or controlling the Brazilians. And I have to defend them there and say that they didn't do anything clearly wrong, because it's so much easier to defend against one boat than defend against a group of boats. But still, it's hard to not get too influenced by the tactics and the other boats, and try to sail the pressure and the shifts as well. And that is really hard to balance those two. Let me see. It's really hard. The French is really close to the water. And the cool thing, I think, is that knowing that this boat is 100 years old. It turned 100 years old 2011, and we had a 100-year-old ceremony regatta in Saint-Tropez, which we also, by the way, happened to win. But as
how many boats? More than 100?
Yeah, more than 100 boats. I think it was 120 or something like that. And old wooden boats as well, competing when it was lighter. But it got really windy some days as well, and then they safely stayed to shore. But the cool thing is that I noticed that every material has its own design, and the remarkable thing with the star is that even though the materials have changed, the design has been so forward thinking that the design could stay and the materials just change, and you didn't have to adopt the design of the boat that much. At least they had gotten straighter when you started sailing faster and faster with because at the time 100 years ago it was cotton sails and it was wooden boats that weighed double as this. So and wooden mast as well. So, but the rigging, the way of rigging makes you be able to have a really light mast when you have both backstays and checkstays. You can stabilize a really thin, slender mast. And now we have regained the first position, and at this point we reached our goal. We won the medal race. We did all what we could, and we had the New Zealand's guys, the Kiwis, behind us. So that means we had the silver, and we've done everything in our power to reach the best result. But we had no idea what was going on behind us, because the Brits and the Brazilians, they were far behind, and we had to take down the sails and round up before seeing them finish, really. And we were completely underneath them windwise, so we had no angle to the finishing line to be able to see how they finished. And so it was a big confusion here, and us out on the water was the last one to know what the real positions were back there.
It took quite a long time before they would post the winner.
Because we were celebrating silver at this point, but on shore they could see that they saw the results already. But when in all this confusion we turned back to be able to see this result list that they were supposed to be facing when everyone's had finished, and you can pretty much see on the body language on these guys that they've lost something. And this,
could you hear the audience on the water?
Yeah, but we couldn't tell if they were screaming GB or Sweden. we could tell that they were screaming, but not cheering for who. The Brazilians wanted to see the end result as well. And now we've seen the screen as well.
Hey guys, back here.
So ladies and gentlemen, now you know what it takes. Thank you so much. If there is somebody who would like to get some more advice over a beer, now's the time for that. So it's a 15 minutes break before you go, before you race. I think there are a few people, at least Jussi Gulliksen, who thinks that 5.5 meters are as cool guys as the star sailors. And Jussi is going to have the next keynote after the break. Thank you. 15 minutes.